Hey, what's up, family? It's your man Dame DNYDC, host of the Two Mics Up podcast. Here today with my lovely co-host, Alisa Middleton. What's happening, sis?
Hey, bro, how you?
Man, look, it's uh, it's a new year, it's a new day. We back at it, and I am just really, I'm tired mentally and physically. It seems like we've moved forward, and we're supposed to be in 2021, but it feels like December 40th, 2020. It's like we've never changed the calendar or moved forward.
Listen, this is season two of the 2020. Season
Exactly.
two at this very moment. 6 days in, and all hell done broke loose. I mean,
And
I
that's
don't even know
exactly.
what to say. It has been these last several days has been a very, very long month. You
No,
know?
it has. And that's why I say I'm tired. It's like it hasn't changed. And with the most recent insurrection at the nation's capital, Um, and for me, you know, I happen to work downtown. I happen to literally work. I mean, the capital is really at the end of the block of where I work. I'm downtown at First Street.
Hmm.
So being at work and hearing and watching from the office all the fire trucks, police cars, federal police, MPD, and then just the general alert in the building, around 2 o'clock, just telling everybody to evacuate the building and just go home.
Wow.
Uh, and then driving home, one, well, I didn't go in that direction. Obviously, I didn't make the right out the building. I made the
Right.
left one. But to watch um, so many Trump supporters, and I should say rioters, insurrectioners, with their flags and everything, walking down the street, walking that way, it felt like I was in a movie, like the movie White House Down.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
mean, literally driving through that, I was like, look, this shit is unreal.
Right.
And then my wife is calling me like, yo, did you leave yet? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in the car, and I can't really talk because then you got to navigate yourself out the city.
Right.
You
Because
know,
everything is blocked off.
every
So we already
every
know the challenge of that.
yo, and like in my mind though, I'm like, God forget, I'm like, somebody jump out here in front of this car though. They get speed bump. Catch the license plate, come get me after. But today that was not the day to play that game.
It was not. It was almost like, so I'm watching this on TV. Um I didn't know what was going on. Someone texted me, and then a coworker put it up on our thing, and I was like, What are you talking about?" And I turn it on the TV, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, shocked? No. Surprised? No.
Mm-mm.
But the caucasity of it all was just was
I
was
like that.
was really like, okay, here we are. This is it. And I'm looking at police, letting these people in as this is happening, because in my mind, I'm saying, where's the police? And then I
Right.
said, why would you ask that? Where's the police? Like, have
Hmm.
you ever seen Hannah Montana and Miley
Right.
Cyrus at the same time? I mean,
Right.
So anyway, I'm like, okay, this is something ain't right here. So when I'm looking and I'm thinking, this got to be an inside job, and
Mm.
my mind went to immediately, there are police officers in that crowd.
Yep.
There are police officers, supporters, sympathizers, also in uniform,
Hmm.
because you let all of these people into the Capitol for hours. They weren't there for a couple of minutes. They were in there roaming buildings, in offices, it's not funny, but how does this happen, right? And I know for a fact that getting into the Capitol is almost like getting into Fort Knox. So
Look.
you can't tell me that this wasn't orchestrated. This
Oh, you,
was not this came from higher up for commands to come down to say we're going to have light security for this event
mm-hmm.
because of the color of their skin.
Right, right.
Right? Because we know when we have an event or a legitimate protest what the Capitol looks like. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen it with our own eyes. The world has seen it.
Right.
So there's no denying that.
Without
But
question.
you let these barbarians
Very well said.
kill a police officer,
Mm.
and they are the party of law and order. How are you fighting the police with a Blue Lives Matter flag?
Mm-hmm.
So the hypocrisy of it all
Mm.
is just reminiscent of the United States of America.
Well, it's not even reminiscent. Well, it is. I agree with you on that. But I also think it's really ironic to me, and I think I posted it. The irony of it all. It took a day like that. First of all, for me, one to see that law enforcement does know how not to use deadly force. But again, it's also a choice because see, you don't have to use deadly force when you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Because see, your word, say that the Caucasian. Look,
The
I was going to
caucasity,
go the
the
Caucasian.
caucasity of it all.
Okay, because I was going to say the whiteness of it all, but okay, you're right because that's a big word. But it shows that they're comfortable. One, looking in the mirror, they accept it, and two, that shows that the mindset is the same. Whether you be a so-called rioter, mob, or you are an elected official, a law enforcement official, they were fine with the whole thing because they were looking in the mirror. And it goes to again highlight the two Americas that we live in. Because just over the summer, all of a sudden now Black Lives Matter, which first of all, they've been trying to name Black Lives Matter a terrorist organization for the longest. But we know now the
Who the
real
real terrorists are.
okay, because the terrorism was looking at itself in the mirror. So the whole foundation, and like you said, the barbarians really showed themselves, but this has been really the foundation of America from its inception. The
Exactly.
barbarians came over here. They slaughtered the indigenous people. They brought over the slave trade, and built this country off the back of the slaves. And yet, they want to also tell you though, this is home of the free, land of all of these nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and all these good feeling words. But in less than 3 hours, last or the week before, whenever it was, January 6th, you saw the barbarian, the mentality of this country, and then they showed it to the world. And like I said, when I was mentioning Black Hawk down, or not Black Hawk, White House down,
Mhm.
I really now not only am I me as a man of color, now am I really not scared or worried because I already knew what I was dealing with the white supremacist mindset. But now you really have to wonder what does this say to the rest of the world? And again, I do not want to pigeonhole, but I'm going to use what this country uses when you talk about terrorist organizations like Al Qaeda, North Korea, the Soviet Union. Well, what do you think that they've seen now? Oh, well, we thought that was just a movie.
Mm-mm.
Well, the movie's real.
Mm-mm. And then you what was your cause? Because I know what our cause is. I know what our fight is. Our fight is not the same. I'm hearing a lot of comparison. There's no reaction when BLM does this. Oh, but on contrary, there's plenty of
Mm.
reaction. There's rubber
But
bullets. There's tear gas. The reaction. What do you mean? There's no reaction
but
when BLM does it?
that was the
But what's your
preparation though.
cause?
But that was the preparation because they was already standing there, you
Oh, they was
know,
there 2 days before you got there.
right. So that was the preparation.
That's what I mean. So, but what is your cause? You're
Hmm.
here because you feel that you are your king has
Hmm.
lost. He's been dethroned. So you're going to storm the Capitol in a revolutionary way.
Hmm.
Like this is 18 or 16 or
Right.
1542, not realizing that you fell for the guise of the democracy, but this is not a monarchy. You don't
Right.
pledge to one individual. You took down the flag of the United States, the same flag that you bashed Colin Kaepernick about when he
Mm-hmm.
was only kneeling because he was bringing light to police brutality and the injustice that goes on in Black America. But that same flag had no meaning to you on January 6th because you removed it and replaced it with a Trump flag. So
Okay.
it's not about the United States of America. It's
Mm.
about one man that
Mm.
incited a riot and insurrection and
Yeah.
sedition and the
Yeah.
whole thing. But it's almost comical to a sense because the hypocrisy of this country just shows through. You
Mm.
showed it to the world because when we can say the same exact thing, give me liberty or give
Give
me
me.
death,
Yep.
you say it and you're a patriot.
Oh.
But if
Ooh.
we say the same exact words,
Oh,
give
you
me liberty, give me freedom, give me equality, we are thugs,
thugs and terrorists.
rebel rousers,
Mm-hmm. You
you
terrorists.
know, whiners. What are you complaining about? You live in America, and all of these um phrases that they use to come back
Mm-hmm.
on us. The chickens have come
I've
home
come
to
home to
roost.
roost. Okay.
January the 6th,
Mm-hmm. But
because that whole situation was horrible.
no, it look. First of all, it was horrible only in the sense that when we have had more time to go and look back at it, so we know that it was planned. We know that
Mm-hmm.
this whole thing was very well planned out and thought out. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we had talked before. Again, I don't condone violence or death,
Mm-hmm.
but the theme that they are running around using, I'm not even going to use that they've stolen, to say her name in regards to this uh, airwoman or former Air Force retiree or whatever she was, Ashley Babbitt or something
Mm-hmm.
along.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't condone it. Don't condone death. Don't condone violence. But you mean to tell me that this woman had to have known that she put her own life in danger just by taking the actions that she took upon herself to enter into a federal building that was basically full of all senators that were on the floor, grouped together to go ahead and count the votes and elect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this woman, she lost her life, and I guess the only problem that I have is when we try to compare, and again, the barbaric mindset of this country is to take on everything that we create,
Everything and
everything.
steal and
Hmm.
try to use it as your own. Say her name,
Yeah.
it does not apply
No,
to this woman.
none.
That's
Has no
not that
application.
is not hers. That is not yours. That is ours. For
Hmm.
unarmed Black women who were killed needlessly and unjustly by the
Right.
police.
Right.
There's no way we will say her name. That is
And
out of question.
ain't
Her
no way.
name is she. What I'm reading is that they're saying that she was unarmed, so she shouldn't have been killed. She drove from California
Right. With the intent, because
with the
let's let
intent
let's
to
let's be
storm
clear.
the Capitol
Right.
at a revolution that
Right.
they believed that was happening.
Right.
You unlawfully entered a building and tried to get into a secured
Pure
area
areas.
that was
Hmm.
barricaded because there were senators belly down,
Right.
okay, on the floor. And there
So.
were Secret Service and Capitol Police who had
Hmm.
put furniture in front of a
Hmm.
door to protect elected
Right.
officials, and you broke a window,
Hmm.
stood in the window,
Hmm.
okay, to try to breach your way in to this area, and you were shot and killed. You
Hmm.
were shot and killed in the commencement of
Hmm.
committing treason.
Hmm. So
You were in the middle of a riot.
mhm.
So say her name does not
And
apply.
it doesn't apply though when, especially in the sense that you went knowing, willingly knowing that this is what your intent was to do the whole time. And it does not apply in my sense because so
Was
we
a
had,
justified kill.
as far as and as far as what I saw in my comprehension, it was justifiable because you had no business being there. And I don't know. And this is the part that when I look back, we've talked to, like we had Heather Hutchinson on, and just talking about white privilege. So your white privilege really, in your mind, really makes you believe that you won't get shot. That is impossible for you to get shot.
Uh, what the white privilege is the is the
Come on now.
reason.
You can say it because I know what you think. You can
It's
say
the
it.
reason
That's the reason.
why you were there.
Yeah.
So, because your white nationalism and your supremacy, meaning that you want to have dominion over others,
Mm,
is what makes you think that you can do these actions
right.
and get away with it and you will not be killed. Now, we want to glorify, they want to glorify this woman as a patriot because she served our country. Thank you for your service. May
Right.
God rest your soul.
Right. Right.
But however,
Mm-hmm.
you were in the middle of a riot. You were in the middle commencement of committing treason. In the middle, you were in the act of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
So the law applies.
And I get
That's my concern. The
what?
law doesn't apply to us. We don't get
No.
that benefit of the
No.
doubt because any woman and all the women that were unjustly killed, Brianna Taylor was in her home. So
Right.
we will say her name forever.
Ever. But I think you hit it though. Like this woman though, the difference for me is, like I said, it's the willingness and the intent behind it. These these black women and these brothers, there was no intent. They were slaughtered
No, they were for being black.
for being
That's
black.
what we're bringing a highlight for.
Right.
We're marching because we're saying to you and the world that we are treated differently. See, you were not gunned down. There was only
Hmm.
one fatality as far as someone dying of a gunshot wound.
Right.
There were
Right.
thousands of you.
Right.
There's thousands of us who were just minding our
Our
business.
business,
And what
standing with our
chaos
hands up.
but
Hmm.
you're the party of law and order. How quickly you flip. So law and order only works when it's law and order on.
One way. It only works one way.
Oh, okay, I got it. I got it now.
It only works. It only works one way.
Right, right,
And,
right.
and again,
Okay.
though, they prove that. And this is why I say,
Mhm.
we
You
really
killed a police officer.
uh,
You bludgeoned a police officer to
bludgeon
death.
him to death.
I
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't see Blue Lives Matter, Back to Blue when you killed a police
Mhm.
officer.
None of that. But again, it's
Hmm.
a reflection in the mirror, and they've really worked to. If you've noticed over since it's happened, to spin down, because usually when it's involving people of color, it's a ramp up.
Hmm.
But with this, has been a spin down. They don't talk about the young woman that was murdered. Her criminal past, her criminal history,
No, no,
but they
that
want
was.
to highlight
Mm-mm,
how much she did for our country, which again, I appreciate her service.
mm-hmm.
But the first thing that happens when it's one of us, they don't, you never hear about, he was a good student or what,
No,
you know,
father, a
father,
dad,
husband, dad,
a
whatever.
husband,
It's
a brother,
automatically drug
none of
related
that.
or
Mm-mm,
everything negative. So this is
mm-hmm.
why for me, and again, I don't want to be heartless, but I have to be honest. It really does not weigh much on my mind
Mm-mm,
because of just the reality of the world that we live in. Like I said, the
mm-hmm,
visual of what happened on that day. If you haven't walked away with something other than unless you live under a rock somewhere, America is not built for us.
mm-mm,
And I'm really concerned though, moving forward,
mm-hmm,
2 weeks from that day,
mm-hmm,
we're going to be sitting back again here
mm-hmm,
in the nation's capital, in our backyard, and
mm-hmm,
then we have to inaugurate a new president and a
mm-hmm,
new vice president,
mm-hmm,
and everything that they've done to strip this current clown of his presidential powers,
mm-hmm.
but he's already set the tone. You know
The
what I'm
tone-
saying? And his rhetoric. And I'm
and
just
this rhetoric.
concerned, what's going to happen again? So we've already seen one insurrection.
Hmm.
What do you think? What do you feel? What are we
I
looking
feel
at
like
January 20th?
I feel like that we're going to be, and I think that it's going to be January moving forward. I
Mm,
feel because he's not going anywhere. That's number one. He has a stronghold on these people, their minds. It's a cult in my mind. And
mhm,
he has the Republican Party by the balls because those 80, 75 million people, you have constituents who know better. I mean, politicians, excuse me, who know better, but they
right.
need that constituency,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
So this is about power. This is about pure politics, both sides,
mhm.
both ways. And it we want to focus on Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is just a symptom,
Right.
right?
Right.
And what we need to learn from Donald Trump is that there is danger in the United States. Now, we have not seen uh, this kind of broad uniting of white supremacy and white nationalism on this scale
Mhm.
since the turn since the 40s, 50s, and 60s
Right.
when they ruled the South. But
And
now we're talking about everywhere. They're out, they're
mhm.
here, they're not going anywhere. So he knows the language, he
Right.
speaks their tone. So we have to be mindful as black people to not fall asleep, not to be
No.
lulled, not to be pushed, not to be
Right.
intimidated. We have to stand our ground because unfortunately they want to say that race did not play a part in what happened on January 6th. And here we are, Black America, looking at it as if we know better because we live it. So now that all of those people that were out there, they're back home, they're in uniform,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
they're
You're
back
right.
home to their local municipalities. They're in uniform. They put their robes on. They're back at the judges' benches. They're back in their elected offices that they were there because you only caught a few of them.
Right.
There
Right.
were thousands of people out there. So let's be mindful that now that this young lady, who they're gonna definitely deem a martyr,
Right.
and they want justice for her, we have to understand what that means for us,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're saying that the left, because BLM, Antifa, the left, we're all clumped into this one group. We will
Right.
now become the enemy in this insurgency. So what I'm saying is that once the political of it all dies down, far as the rhetoric,
Yeah.
then it's going to be, because if he gets impeached for the second time, he won't be able to run for office. So what is going to be the talking point?
Mm.
What is going to be the motive and the motivation,
Right.
right?
Right.
We've seen the motive and the motivation slowly, you know, boil,
Mhm.
boil over,
Over.
right?
Yeah.
Because
It's boiled over.
we know that BLM is an enemy
Mhm.
of these people because he's told them that.
Well, that's what he's
We
told them.
know,
Yeah.
right? And they believe it.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
drinking the Kool-Aid extra sweet. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
With him.
Right.
So we know, as we seen in California, the young lady that was walking home and walked
Yeah.
into the
The
middle of
Google.
this Trump rally, I mean, in California, excuse
Yeah.
me, and was snatched off the
Snatched up off the
street.
street. Yeah.
We can't, the news never broadcasted that. So we cannot take these things lightly, right?
Facts.
They're
Facts.
wearing shirts that say Civil War,
Mhm.
right? They're wearing shirts that says, Antifa is the enemy, which is cold because we know that they put BLM and Antifa together. So
Right.
we know that that's code for black people.
Right.
Whether you believe in BLM or not, if you're black, you're going to be clumped into this group.
Mhm.
There's a movement that started last year for us, right? We got corporations to change the way that they do things,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
We marched with all 50 states and several countries all at the same time.
Mhm.
We came out and we voted against Trump. Not so much
Mm-hmm.
for Biden, but we voted against Trump.
Right.
We pulled Biden. Black people pulled him
Mm-hmm.
over to that win.
Correct.
We came up in Georgia
Mm-hmm.
like the phoenix out of the ass,
Right.
like the phoenix out. We rose up in Georgia.
And we flipped the
Right?
state. Yep. We
We
flipped the
flipped the
state.
state,
Mm-hmm.
the whole entire state,
Mm-hmm.
headed by Stacey Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
So
Kudos to
the
Stacey.
so the rise of the black people is causing a uncomfortability in this
Mm-hmm.
nation,
Right.
right? Because they keep on saying this is our country. We are patriot. You're
And that.
colonizers,
Mm-hmm. And that's
not
the
your.
part though. I think that's like I said when I started, and asking the question. That's the part that I wanted, us as people of color understand what they're talking about. What this is their country, their nation. It's really nothing for us, and they're looking for every reason now to hunt us down, to inflict whatever type of pain or whatever. Because I mean, they don't care. They're colonizers, like you said. Colonizers are just a better word for a barbarian, an animal, or whatever you want to call it. And that's what we have to be mindful of. And that's why I say, even on January 20th, if you've been under a rock and if you haven't identified, or it doesn't have to be BLM, but you
It
got to
could
be a
be
part of
anybody.
something. It could be right, and that's the part that if you haven't made a choice, please make a choice now. Get yourself educated mentally, get yourself involved. It doesn't have to be physically, it could be monetarily, it could be through volunteering. Whatever your talents are, or whatever it is that you can give freely and you have the time to do, now is really the time for us to really build on it. That's how we build on that unity in the community. That's
We
how
have
we have to. You'll be
we
a
have to
fool
look
not
out for each other. We
to.
have to stand united. We
All
have to
day.
keep pushing because we
Yep.
are pushing in the right direction. I would like us to see us pushing more for ourselves and doing more for
Hmm.
ourselves. But we have to keep going and we have to be alert. We have to stay together. We have got to unite because what you saw on January the 6th is just the beginning. That was a trial
Exactly.
run.
And oh, I was just going to say, because that was the point of my question asking you, because really the six to me was a trial run. That was a tactical training exercise. Okay, let's see if this is really because really they ran intel on us, on the government. They used their intel from the inside. Okay, well, this is what they're giving us. Let's see if this blueprint really works. Well, now, not only do they know, the rest of the world knows, but that was just, again, it goes back to, like I've said before, his comments about, stand down and wait for the
Stand
best.
down and stand by.
So again, that rhetoric was put out there. So this tactical training on the sixth just means that now they can go full scale with something on the 20th. And the part, like you said earlier about the young lady in California who was snatched off the street, the part that's really being left out, the mass media really focused on what went on here in DC.
But it was
But
going on all over
these
the
events were
country.
all across the country, where there were rallies and protests and different things similar to this one that they just seem to focus on. And this is why anybody that's listening across this country, if you are following us and listening to Two Mics Up, you have to be smart. Take heed and start creating your circles, like we do, check on each other, call on each other, let your friends know, hey, when you're stepping out, when you're going somewhere, where you're going to be, try not to go alone, because you are a target just because of the color of your skin,
Right.
and you got to be smart moving
And
forward.
this government is not going to protect you
Not
because
at all.
they're in on it. They're corrupt. This government is very much fueled by money. Our
Hmm.
politicians can be bought and sold. So that means that the morality, they have no morals.
No
You know what
morals.
I'm saying? So we can't depend on them because a sitting president has incited uh, a riot.
He did.
He incited treason, and he's still sitting president.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes to show you that on both sides, this is a nation that is lost its way, never really found this way,
Never
but
found it. Yep.
it's really going down the tubes, because how can this man still be sitting in office? How can anyone in the United States Senate, Congress, how could you back this man? How could you even endorse what you just witnessed when your own life was in danger, unless
You're part of. You're part of. You're
the
part of.
you
Okay.
are part of,
And
you were part of the orchestration,
okay. Okay.
because as I know, working in the police department, orders come from above.
Yep.
So those police officers that you saw on the ground, they were sitting ducks. Some of
Yep.
them were sympathizers, so
Yep.
they did not feel like they were fighting an enemy. These were their same friends with their
Friends.
same
Yep.
ideology, their same
Yep.
character, their same thoughts, their same beliefs. So they opened those gates, some of them, but then you had the ones that were really doing their job,
Right.
and was left in the dark, and who sworn to protect and serve, was
Right.
actually protecting and serving, and they were in the middle of fighting all of these people off,
Yep.
protecting the Senate. So you from above
Yep.
gave an order for a
A
soft
stove.
stand.
Yep.
You
Yep.
gave that order that you did not want to show force. You
Mm-hmm.
gave that order because the National Guard should have already been there on the steps the same way
That
that
they were
they
for Black
were
Lives Matter over the
at the
summer.
Black Lives Matter
Mm-hmm.
rally. There should have been tear gas. There should have been
Yep.
rubber bullets. There are
Yep.
always snipers on the roof
No, but there weren't
these
none.
government buildings. So it's almost like, oh wow, only one person got shot.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh, okay. Because I'm not seeing the
Right.
force.
Force.
I didn't
Right.
see the force, and force is ordered.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
these are commands that come down the pike. So the
It,
command didn't come down.
but because there was no intent. There was never again any intent in place to forcibly have
No.
a plan or
Mm,
in place or to enforce any
mm,
order.
mm,
It was intentionally done, and I bring that only. I only say that again though because what's even more disgusting and what even highlights that while this is all taking place, you got Trump Jr. Dingbat with his dad and his constituency, IGN and Facebook living from inside the tent while they're watching all of this unfold. Now, this guy and his father standing with his hands in his pocket watching it. And his son is IG live like he's at a club or at a party talking about these are the real patriots of America and
these
telling
people,
him to continue to fight. And I'm like, yo, and this goes back like you said. So those senators you're going to sit here and tell me that you can't get rid of this man because if you really don't do anything, you should
they
go.
all
They
should
all
be
need to go,
arrested.
all of
You
them.
cited the remarks. Let me tell you something. If this rolls, imagine Obama.
Listen, not because you know what?
Let's not even go there, right?
Because you know
Because
what? Because you know what would have
imagine
happened, right? They
Obama
would have tried to kill Obama.
telling us as Black people, you built this, but this is the truth.
It's the
You
truth.
built this country. You treated as second class citizen. And we all out there, yeah,
Yep.
that's right. And this and that.
Yep.
Imagine the backlash. Not only, but you got Rudy Giuliani who needs to be arrested for incitement. You got
We can't talk
the
about that.
list goes on and on.
Diaper
But
Giuliani.
nothing. Everybody's still at home.
Right.
But you out there picking off the people that you should be, as you should be, as
Right.
it's too late because you can't find everybody. So
Right.
you just going by the little photographs that was there. So you trying to get the main people, but you didn't get everybody. So now
Nope.
that you know who Giuliani is, you know where he is. Where's the charges?
Exactly.
Right? Where's the
Exactly.
charges? I seen Minister Farrakhan be banned for
And
life. You
exactly.
understand? They
Exactly.
killed Malcolm
Mhm.
X
Mm-hmm.
for less. Martin Luther King for less. So
Yep.
you're gonna sit here and tell me that Rudy Giuliani is at home, Junior is at home, Cruz
Right.
is at home,
And none of them in
Mitch
handcuffs, nothing like that.
McConnell, nobody.
Nope.
Everybody just living their lives, but
Yep.
we as American citizens are supposed to be satisfied with the little crumbs that you giving
And
us, these little arrests from the people. Yeah, they should be arrested, but most of them are already being let go. But they
yep.
should be arrested. But let's start from the top.
You hit a very good point, though. And this
I'm
is
not
something
satisfied with the
I'm
FBI
not satisfied either. And this is
and
where I think
policing.
some of white America doesn't even realize. This goes to, and I want to try to get this as right as possible because Lyndon B Johnson, when he was president, and I'm not going to be able to remember word for word, but something along the lines of, if you get the poorest white person to believe that
That
he
they're
is
better
better
than
than
the
the
richest
richest
black
black,
person.
right?
They will empty their pockets.
So what we saw and what we're seeing is that today,
Right.
and that whole thing, because like you said, there's no way. I don't care, Cruz, McConnell, uh, Trump Jr., Trump himself. They
Lindsey
all should,
Graham
they should all have been in handcuffs and in prison.
by now.
No,
By now.
that day, they should have all been in prison.
Nothing.
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 And like you
And
said,
that's
we've had our leaders die for less than, and they were assassinated for less than what
and
happened on that day.
and that is why we as black citizens of the United States should be calling for the arrest
Yes, exactly. I agree.
of these people.
I agree.
We should
And
be calling
I
for the arrest of all of the who was involved at the top. We
hmm
should be out here definitely demanding arrest
yep,
because we get arrested and convicted for
yep.
less.
For
And
far less.
they are people, they are public servants.
And that's the part. Again, that's why I made that statement about Lyndon Johnson. Because at the end of the day, these people, and I don't understand the mentality. They're put on a pedestal when the reverse is we as citizens, as the community, we should be put on the pedestal. And
Mm-mm.
they get to run and hide behind things that the normal everyday person doesn't. But we're the one that put them in that position. You understand what I'm saying? So we need to
Well,
really, re, we need to
we're going down
revamp.
a rabbit hole, bro.
No,
Don't
I'm just
get
saying
me started.
because that just means that we need to really rethink how we operate as a nation and as a country. These people do not need to serve terms more than 8 years. They need to be in and out. I even watched Biden the other day when he nominated the gentleman for office. This man has been in office and in around office for over 30 years. He's got old mindset. He's got old thinking. What is that going to do to heal or change America today? The America that we live in is not the America that this man served in office for before. This is we have to change and revamp the criteria for people to be able to run, the age limits that they should be able to run, the time
That's
limits that
not
they
going
should be able
to
to
happen, bro.
but again, we the people now, and again, I don't want to say that we should go out and riot and be create insurrection, but you got it now. It's time to rattle the cage and really start holding people accountable, like we're talking about by having Trump go to jail, have McConnell and all these other people, and then start doing it locally. Oh, really start showing up. I mean, people were saying, "Oh, how they felt bad about how people surrounded Mitch McConnell in the airport." No, I don't feel bad. You're a public citizen. You're a servant. So if I see your ass out and I have some words for you, I have every right to say what the hell I want. And so what? There was another 200 with me in the airport. Oh, too bad. This is what comes with the job. This is what your constituents feel about you and the job that you're not doing. And if they
Well,
can't do it, he should
because
not be
people,
allowed to continue on.
yeah, but see, here's the thing, bro, and we gotta really um start knowing that this is really not a democracy.
Well,
So
shit,
when you
another
when
conversation.
you when you start thinking and knowing for real that the great guys of the United States and the great folks and what they pulled off is to believe that we are in a democracy. We're only in a democracy when it's time to elect. Other than that, there is no democracy, because guess what? 90% of the people left and right feel the same way.
Well,
We all want the same. We all want the same things on 90% of the issues.
and you're
We
100%
do
right.
differ on. We do differ on certain small issues that they amplify to keep us divided. But there is no democracy here. You do not have a say. Once you cross over to Capitol Hill, your say is no longer a say. Who runs the United States of America is foreign
Mm,
interests and
okay.
corporations.
Okay. Well, yeah, yeah,
Where
the money.
our money come from?
Yeah.
Our money come from the air, from the Federal Reserve, out of nowhere. So you can do $1 billion bailout. Where does the $1 billion come from, bro? Like, see, we have to really start knowing that we do not live in a democracy. So to try to change a democracy is not going, the guise of the democracy is not going to happen as long as they keep us divided, as long
Hmm.
as they keep the race baiting, as long as they keep the left and the right and the Christians and the Muslims and the Jews separated. The money will flow overhead while we out
Well,
here fighting. You understand
well,
what I'm
well,
saying? So
when
there's
you're
no
speaking
voting.
at this point, so then it goes back to even like we were saying. So you're right. There's no democracy, and this goes to us really understanding economics and capitalism is really what you're talking about. What we need to understand is how to use our money and go out and pay. And we spoke about it. Find us some
Fascism.
politicians. Right. We
Fascism.
go. Right. Yeah. Basically, and we'll pay our own. We'll pay our own politicians. We'll pay our own for our own law enforcement to go ahead and do the things that we need done in our community because that's really all it. That's really that most people in these positions really understand nowadays. That's how
Right.
this
And
country
if you're
works.
going to play the game, you have to make sure that we understand that if you're going to exist and you want us to be equal, we have to play the game. So if you here in this country and you want to have equality and you want to have these things are bought and sold every day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Your rights are bought and sold. Laws are bought and sold every day, but they
Hmm.
only benefit that 1% of, this is all
And,
about corporations and how they're going to
and I
make
was
this
just
money,
going to say because that's really we.
because if you just look at it, common sense,
No,
my
you're talking common
local,
sense.
uh, huh?
No, I said you're talking common sense only in the sense though
Yeah,
people
because
have
it's
to
my
separate
local
equality
grocery.
because equality is different. It's not equality as human beings. It's equality on an economic level that makes you a human being.
Exactly. Because what this lockdown showed you, when we made seven billionaires and one trillionaire,
Hmm.
shows you that this has nothing to do with you as
Right.
as a person, as your life, as your livelihood. Because as you see, there's people starving, the food lines are long. Your
Mm.
government doesn't care.
Right.
They threw you pennies, let them eat cake. It's almost like reminiscent, right?
Hmm.
So if you saying we got to do this, we got to do that, we have the wrong idea about how to fight this fight. This fight is not going to be done um without economics,
Oh,
because
without
we
question.
live in a fascist society that is capitalism, and capitalism is only fascism with money. So
That's it.
here's the deal.
Hmm.
You see how they showed you through this pandemic. If my local business can't stay afloat because they telling you to stay home because of the epidemic and you could catch coronavirus, but they're closing my local store, but Target,
Right.
Walmart,
Well, I mean,
Amazon
he
are
put that out there.
operating as usual. So if I could stand online in Walmart, why can't I go to my local store? Why is my local business closed?
But that was made clear to us though when this whole thing started. The people that he put on stage with him were the ones that you're talking about. The people that he rolled out on stage with him was Walmart, Target, Amazon,
Of
CVS,
course.
all the people
That's
that
who
are going
runs the
to
company. That's who
right,
runs this country.
right,
Big,
exactly.
big, big business, big
Yep.
pharma, big medical, big
and
business.
and he's also showed you too. I mean, we talked about it. You know, the future of shipping is going to be Amazon. When Amazon can get you your packages and you can't get your mail, in the pandemic, just think about it. So we've already seen the future of shipping because I've said, to my wife and people, UPS, FedEx, DHL, they've really got a limited time when you can get anything and everything. So now why not just start sending you a mail through Amazon? Because you put in an order with Amazon, you get it the next day. They can tell you, oh yeah, you get it in a week. Something you get it the next day. So it's already been shown. It's been shown to us from the time the pandemic started. And I even said, watching him roll, I said, well, we already know where the companies are going to. Middle America, small business America is being obliterated. This
Obli-
pandemic is showing you it's being obliterated. The way we've done retail, brick and mortar, it's being
Gone.
obliterated. It's being obliterated. It's
Macy's,
gone. Right. Think
Macy's,
Macy, all of
JC
these places
Penney, Sears, all of them are.
gone.
And
Gone.
this is the way. So if you follow the money, right, then you follow where this country is going. This country does not care about its citizens,
No,
white or black,
no, no.
because we're all suffering. See, that's the
Yep.
part. But as long as they can keep you on a dominion, you don't care about your suffering. As
Right.
long as you're better than me is what will drive you to
Right.
where you're at today. And
Right.
that's how this country is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about money and power.
Yep.
Period. So
Yep.
there's when you saying, when we all saying like, oh, they gotta be arrested, they gotta be this, and this should happen and that should happen. That is common sense. You
Mm-hmm.
commit a crime
Right.
against the nation, you
What?
should be
It,
arrested for treason,
yeah,
treason, no matter
it,
who you are or what
look,
office you hold.
it was so
Right?
blatant. Because it was so blatant and egregious. There's really no conversation on what should happen and
It's
why
no conversation, but
it's.
yet here we are.
Mm-hmm.
But yet here we are because you have to follow the money.
Mm.
You
Oh,
have
this
to
is true.
follow the money. The
This is.
money will always root out the evil. That's what the Bible said. The
Mm.
love
Mm-hmm.
of it will root
Yeah.
out the
Yeah.
evil.
You're right.
And that is the evil. We do not live in a democracy. There is no way on this great green earth that you're going to tell me because he did not get elected, he was not elected. You were thrown out of each court on every level,
Yeah.
including the Supreme Court,
By his own judges. Yep. Mm-hmm.
by your own judges.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say that there's voter fraud in large minority
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah.
Now, come on. They're not voting for you in Philly. You
No,
want
bro.
Pennsylvania. You want to stop it in Philly ain't coming for you,
No.
bruh.
No, they
They're
not.
not voting for
They not.
you.
They not.
You want to do it in Wisconsin. Milwaukee ain't
Milwaukee
down
ain't.
with
They
you.
ain't down with you, bro.
They
No,
ain't
not at
doing
all.
that. So,
Mm-mm.
but these are the states that you're saying in the areas. So you're so used to voter suppression
Mm-hmm.
that you cannot believe that we were not suppressed anymore.
Right.
So the audacity of black people to organize and mobilize and come back after years of voter suppression. We have been screaming foul play from the time we was even allowed to vote.
True.
Because we
True.
had to go through literacy tests.
Yeah,
We
we
had
had to
to
go
go
through all of
through
that.
voter suppression has been in our lives from the time that we were able to vote. Then you took it back away and we were intimidated not to vote. Then we had to get an act that said that we can't be intimidated to vote because we were already
You
able
want
to
to
vote. So,
exactly.
child, please. And then you done, you done took. So now we saw what you did to Stacey Abrams.
Hmm.
It was so blatant.
And she
It
learned.
was so blatant. And what this sister did
She
was
learned.
monumental,
Yep,
right?
she learned from what was
She
done to her.
said, I don't have to be governor,
Nope.
but I'm going to own this state.
And she
I am
learned and she
going to
owned.
make sure that
She
you will
did.
know that voter fraud will not exist. And not only did she do that for the state of Georgia, she did that for the United
United
States
States. Yeah, it was.
because she had her website. if you experience this, then
Yeah,
go do this.
and
We were listening.
she had it laid out. She
We
learned
had
from
it
her.
laid out
I
because
wouldn't even call
we
her
knew it was
failures.
coming.
Yeah, she learned.
You can't suppress us.
Nope.
I mean, like when you get to realize that the DNA of Black people is perseverance and resilience. When you start to understand who we are as a people, for us to survive
Mm-hmm.
and not just us in America, around the world,
Right.
what we have been through, and we still here, and we're still performing at a higher level. We're still existing. We're you cannot exterminate us. You
Well,
only make us better.
through time, we are, and I've said before, we were built. This creation that was built is divine. We were a divine idea, a divine creation by the man upstairs. And throughout history, they have done everything to exterminate the existence of, but yet we're still here. Life actually on this planet really only exists thanks to Henrietta Lacks. A lot of white people are walking around here with black blood in their veins that was stolen
All
from a
of
woman. That was stolen from a woman,
it.
unbeknownst to her, to create vaccines that keep many and most Americans alive today. So our creation was divine and intended to be what it is, and we have to understand that. And we cannot go back on that. And we cannot be forgiving anymore. We are the most forgiving race of people on the
Hold
planet,
them to task.
and
Hold them.
we got to stop
Call
now.
them out.
We got to have expectations. We got to
Yeah.
go ahead and move forward and put the pressure on, and
At
everything that
this
we do now.
moment. At this
No,
moment.
really, from that moment on, the six really for me, and I'm going to take it back to how
Time
we
for us to
started.
get up right now.
It's time for you to become a part of something and get yours. And again, I'm not condoning anyone to go out here and do anything that's violent, but protect yourself. Be involved. Be
Be involved.
committed. Be
Be committed.
committed. And we really need that to move forward.
We have
Um, we have to. There's really no question now. And
they left the gate open. And
well,
we should
no,
be
they opened the gate.
the
They
gate
they
is open and we
they
should be
opened the gate
walking through it right now. We should be
all day.
exposing and demanding because if you get on here, Joe Biden, and say,
Hmm.
Black people, you got me through this. My African American friends, you got me through this. I got your back. And then you just got on TV and said, well, if Black Lives Matter was out there, they would be treated differently. So your acknowledgement
Acknowledging,
is
right,
there. Now
right.
we need the action
And this
on
is
that.
again
Yeah,
on
yeah,
things like that. We've got
yeah,
to press. We've really
yeah,
got to be very aggressive in the
yeah.
sense of pressing the
Yes.
issues now. When
Mhm,
people open the door,
mhm.
it's not a time of, well, let's have a conversation. It's time
No,
to
there's no
press. No, it's
conversation.
no. You press the issue,
Action.
and
Action.
you have to demand action because the
Mhm,
president elect can say that. So, like you said, you know it. So, what
mhm,
are you doing, Joe?
mhm. What are
Not
you
what are
going
you going? Not
to do?
what are you? No, I'm not asking what do you. No, what are you doing, Joe,
Right.
as
Mhm,
the president
mhm,
to stop these
mhm.
things from happening again in the future?
Because he wants to have, see, one thing that I don't agree is the conversation. He wants to have a conversation with Black leaders, which he did. It was very defensive. I already knew what it was going to be because he said he was not down for defunding the
Hmm.
police,
Hmm.
but because they all work. Listen, anyway. But here's the deal now. We don't want to talk to the police. The
I don't want
police
to talk to them either.
need any. The police
No,
doesn't need any more training.
no,
They don't need more money for
no.
training. See, this is the part that I disagree with a lot of my people on, is because we don't need, the police doesn't need any more training.
But
That's not what they need. They
they just
need
showed us that
discipline,
though.
action.
They just showed us that they can be disciplined
They
when
can.
they just showed us
They have to
they
show
so
restraint.
when I
Because
talk
if
about
you wasn't scared of a mob of 10,000 people and only one person got
right,
shot, but you
right,
killing somebody because you scared, you thought that they
right,
had a gun and it was a
right,
cell phone,
right,
then we got an issue.
right. So there's an issue. So
I
I
don't
when
want to talk to you.
and
I
that's what I'm
want
saying.
you
That
to defund.
the police conversation, in my opinion, now is over.
It's over
Defund now because
immediately.
Right, because so I don't need to talk to a police chief or anybody in law
No,
because you showed me, like you said, you had 10,000 people descend on the Capitol, and you chose to have everyone standing with their hands in their pocket. So you
three
can
hours.
for 3 hours, and you like they said on their media that everything was peaceful and calm within 3 hours. No escalation, no nothing. So that shows me that you know how and you can. So we can defund today and we can allocate those funds
We
to
need to.
do it today and reallocate those funds to mental health and all the other outreach and community care needs that are more important because that's where it needs to go. And I'm with you,
You
and I'm going to leave it
give
in.
a $3 billion budget for military.
I
Child,
don't even need to hear. We're not even going to go down that conversation because that proves all I need to know for that day. But look,
right.
we've had, gee, we've been going almost an hour, and it's been as
Already know.
as always. We get into different things here, and it's been amazing. And I'm not going to dig in any deeper on the topics of what happened on Insurrection
Day.
Wednesday. Nation's capital failure. All I will say is again and reiterate to everyone that is listening to us, please make sure that you and your family are safe. Please check up on or check in on, call, communicate with each other moving forward. Create
Get
your own
involved.
get
Mhm.
involved and create your own community networks so that you can definitely be dialed in with each other first. Expand your networks to family and friends that are across the country, um, and just be careful. Really, just right now, just be mindful and be careful. So
Yeah.
before we close out, Lise, anything you want to share before we go?
Well, I just want to tell our listeners to just stay diligent, stay resilient, please stay educated
Hmm.
and realize that everything you see on the TV, research, do your own research because the media is, just that, the media. They choose, they
Right.
pick and choose. There's other things going on out here that we need to be alert. And also join something or
Hmm.
create something of your own. Get something going. We have to be united as one. We need to move as one like we did. We showed our power this year, election year, with Georgia, with the main election. Now, if we stick together and use our power for ourselves,
Hmm.
we would be a better nation that's within a nation.
Mm. Very well said, sis. So, like we always do, listeners, you can check us out online, season two, two mics up.
Season two.
Right. Season two, show the roll, show the roll. We are online at www.2micsup.com. You can also follow Two Mics Up on social media, IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Two Mics Up. And as we always do, stay safe, stay blessed. Mics out.
Mic'd out.